Hey, this is Christoph. I got this file from my friend Jack, and he said, Christoph, how do you actually clean all these rotation problem and substitution and all this kind of stuff, right? Some of the errors that we got here where the rotation are not in the right stuff. Sometime when we start the second set, the coach actually changed the lineup of the other team, and we need to actually fix that either live or whatever. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about I. We'll talk about Z. We'll talk about the refresh and some of the stuff. So if I look at it here right now, I can see that the opposite team here is, you know what? One thing that I like to do is I actually like to see who is serving. So let me have this serve, because usually that's what is done. And I'm going to say that my lineup is a 10, 2, 5, 13. And then they may have changed, they may have switched. But it's usually that gives me an idea of the lineup. So I'm going to think that this one is a 10, 2, 5, 13, 1, 11. And this one is expected 10, 2, 5, 13, 1, 11, which is kind of weird because that's what I set up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the lineup there. And 10, 2, 5. So I'm double clicking on the 5. And sorry, I was waiting because Emily is from the French. Is that really the right lineup? But no, she's playing in Germany there. So, okay. So 10, 2, 5, 13, 1, 11. So I just double click there, right? And now my setter is in rotation 3, right? And now I click apply. So what I did is not only was there in the front, but this one should actually change now. This is one of the problem is the rotation here on that stuff does not necessarily apply to the next set. I don't like those one. I'd rather remove them and actually set the lineup either here and apply, or set the lineup directly after that. So I usually like to set the lineup right at the start. So let me do that. It was a 10, and it was a 2. So we'll do that. I'm just going to start from scratch. So what I think is a 10, 2, 5. I double click every time. 13, 1, 11. And my setter is in rotation 3. Now I can apply. And because I remove this in between, this should actually fix everything after me, right? So I should be now correct on all the start. Wrong point assignment. So this one is probably a 6-2. We'll fix this one. Edit 6-2. Okay. Now when I do that, the problem is this. If I change the lineup here, it's going to apply to the rest regardless. So I'm not crazy about this one. So 6-2. I'm going to remove that. 6-3. I delete this one, and now I got tons of sub there. Let me see what the subs are here. What do I have? I have tons of substitution here. You see how it's actually telling me that the lineup is improper? You can still edit this one here if you're sure about the lineup. But what I like to do is actually the opposite. I'm actually adding a substitution. So you can add the substitution after, and you can just say who's actually doing that. But I don't see a sub here. Let me confirm. I'm at the end of the rally there. Attack outside. What is happening? So for me, there is no sub. I'm wondering if I can remove them. The 10 for 6, 6 for 10, 9 for 10. Yeah, so there was probably some kind of mix. So I can have this rotation there and the lineup there. Let me see. Let me confirm again that this rotation is actually the proper one. So I got A5 serving. I guess that's this one. Who's serving there? The problem is I don't see their number. So let me see there. So 5 is a passing, which is star 5. This is me. Okay. So that should be okay. Anyway, I'm not sure about those one. I'm going to delete them. But you can also, you see all this rotation there because the rotation were actually improperly done. That's what I need to close there. Yeah, it's all confused there. So I usually delete them after the game. And now if there is a sub, I can actually add them. Now, that rotation there, it says that it's improper and it needs to be this one. So 5, 13, 1, right? 5, 13, 1, 11, 10, 2. 5, 13, 1. 11, 10, 2. I double click every time and I apply. Now that should clean that up. Okay, this one is gone. Do I have any other thing? Wrong point assignment. Fix again. So every time I fix this one, it may pack the rest, right? Invalid starting team. So same thing here. We're going to do edit. That's this one, right? 7, 4. Right? And now I can remove this one. Now let me see if there is a sub here. See that sub here. So we're going to see that. Hopefully there is a sub here. Serve out. There is no sub here. So I'm surprised. I don't know what this 1 to 6 is. And now it's telling me that it's 13, 1, 11, 10 to 5. So I'm going to go here. 13. Oh, I forgot that. What lineup does it want? That's A. 13, 1, 11, 10 to 5. So I'm here. 13. That's A. 13, 1, 11, 10, 2, 5. And the setter is Emily there. And I apply. And now I'm good. Now 6 may not be 6 for the block, but this one is 1 point assignment again. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff here that we need to clean. So let me see. All these changes are probably confusing. So let's clean that up. Wrong point. Let's see. That was touch. It says it was out. So for me, this is an error here. Now the wrong point should be disappearing. Okay, it's disappearing. Now all these one, I'm not sure if we need that because I don't see any sub. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Here we are. So 4 for somebody. 4 for 2 is the only one that I got here. So let me delete all that. And I got a 4, 4, 2. Now remember, look at the bottom. That would be, that's the way you should actually do the substitution. AC 4 is going out, 2 is coming in, right? Or you go for this one, you can do C 4, 2, depending on where it is. Also, remember all these S, right? Which is who is the setter, in what position is the setter, and the I, which is in what rotation they are. This is super important live, so you can quickly, for instance, in the double sub, some coach like to actually have the setter in position 1 and to see because that's what they want, and some don't. They still want to stay and keep the quote-unquote setter in position 4, even though it's the opposite. But you need to be able to quickly decide, you know, it's a Z1, a Z1, or whatever it is. All the subs needs to be done with a C, and all the rotation is to be done with a Z and the I. This is important for you live to keep the rotation. But let's fix this one. So there is a problem here, but what happened is that team on the other side has a sub 4 for 2, right? Let's do that again. 4 is coming out, 2 is coming in. So I'm going to edit the lineup. There is no 4, there is no 2, which is confusing for me again. We'll figure it out. I think, let me see where 4 was. Oh, this is more complex than I thought it was. Okay, where was 4? So this is the thing, because I don't see them. So long hair, white and white. Let me see where she was. That's the one there. Is she the lib to be replaced by the middle? It's very possible that's what happened. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. If we do this, if I want to do a substitution before, right? I can do the 2 for the 4. That's something like that. You can do that here, right? And now what we need to do is switch the lineup. So we start with the 1, and I think he was 1, 11, 10. Let's say we put the 4. That's wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. We put the 4, 5, 13, and it should disappear here. Yes, right? Now it says that 9 is not on the court, and we need to figure out why 9 is not on the court. Maybe 9 is actually serving. Oh, they got a 6, 4, 9. Okay, so let's do that. What we can do here is add a position before, and there is no 6, and there is a 9. So something is happening here. Something is happening here. That was supposed to be 1, so we'll do a substitution before 1 for 9. Right? So I do the sub. Now I'm going to have an error because my lineup here doesn't match what I say it's going to be. Like 1 now needs to be 9. And I'm setting here. So now this is going to disappear and this is going to disappear. Right? And so now it should be better. Let's see if we got other issues there in terms of rotation. 2 is not on the court, 2 is not on the court, so we'll probably have to add number 2. But the point is, every time we change the score, everything below that is going to keep the rotation of the score. Right, so if I change something, we won't do that live, but let's see if there's another one for set 2. I don't see anything here. I'm looking for the part that is going to say that I'm changing the score. When you add a new score, when you change, when you change the score here, it's adding this kind of lineup. And I'd say this one here. So what is happening is we have a lineup right before, right? 5, 13, 1, 11. And we have a lineup after. This lineup changes the lineup for everything that is after. So if I change the lineup above and the lineup below is actually wrong, this is not going to change because this one is going to block. So let's see what's happening here. Here, it says 5, 13, 1. 5, 13, 1. That's the 18. So 5, 13, 1. I'm writing it down on the side. 5, 13, 1, 11, 10, 2. And so it's expecting this. So 5, 13, 1, 11, 10, 2. So that was probably just a rotation. Okay, let me not fix that. I noticed that with Volleystation, and it's not something that you do wrong. Is for some reason, maybe sometime with the timeout, it changes the rotation even though it should not change because you got the point. You see there, we're in Z1, so setter's in 1, and now it's for some reason it's putting as a Z6. Just edit the lineup, go back to Z1, save it, and now it's good up to here. Now this one here is 13, 1, which I think is incorrect. So if I remove this one, do I get an error? Yeah, now I get an error, right? Because for me, there is no change. This A, that lost, should still be in A5, so it should still be in 1. So I'm going to change the lineup. I'm in 1, I haven't changed. Now this one, I was in 4, so now I should be in 3. So I don't know why I'm in 1 here. So I'm editing the lineup. Right? So now I'm fixed. Now I'm good into the lineup. Let's see if there is anything else there. See, there's another one that is coming here. and another one that is coming here, and we'll have to check that. 3 was serving the red team 1, which is the A team. So the A team is serving now. They're putting to 1. So it was, let me see. So the A team was in 6. And now they're in 5. That kind of makes sense. I don't know why this is here. If the score has been changed. But I usually, when I clean, I usually delete those one. Because I want it to be clean. And I fix this part. You see this one? So for me, this is a 395. Right, so this one that lost, the star was in Z2, and it should still be in Z2. So now, I'm in 4 there. 2, right? And now it's gone, right? And I'm removing this one, and I'm changing the lineup here. Let's see what it's telling us. Okay, we're clean here. You see that in terms of lineup? 2, 1, 1, 5. Anyway, so the point of the matter is, I usually, if I start a new set and I don't know, I'm totally confusing. I just start as is, right? I'm putting 6 players on the court. As long as my setter is in the right location and in the right position, I'm just going to start the set, and I'll fix the lineup after. Notice that every time there is an entry there, we'll need to remove those one or change the lineup inside that little rotation change, because everything that is below that is keeping the one that is above. So you're not changing the entire stuff. Use the C, use the Z, and use the I every time there is a changement that you want to change. Say the setter now is in this position, or this is the rotation. Learn those one. This is important because some sub are happening so fast that you don't really have time to open and say, okay, what is my lineup? Let me change that, see what's happening. And the rest, all the errors here, right, are going to help you fix that. So take them one at a time and fix them one at a time. Let's see if there's another one here. Right, so this one there for me is hard because I got a starting lineup and then I got to change here. I'd rather remove that and fix the red. Let's see if there goes an error. So it's telling me, okay, so those one are good. Anyway, I hope it helps. If you got questions, just let me know.